If you could see the future on January 21st, before everything happened, what would you do? What would you say to Josh to try to stop the situation so Josh could still be with us today?
Instead of 1 o'clock, I would have made the appointment at 9 o'clock. He'd still be here.
A busy South Philadelphia neighborhood becomes a crime scene after smoke is seen coming from inside of a parked Jeep. Also inside that vehicle, a body wrapped in blankets.
This is not in the middle of nowhere. There are businesses all around me, yet still investigators say nobody noticed people attempting to set a Jeep on fire while a body was inside.
It's devastating, man. It was a quick dude, man.
Cops wouldn't let me see his face. I kept trying to push through.
They saw his Jeep on TV. Right there, my heart just stopped. I never knew that would be my last time with him.
Since he been gone, ain't been the same. And I don't think it'll ever be.
This person that did this to him, he told me to shake his hand. Like, look, this is my family.
Police say somebody tried to torch this Jeep with the body of a 43-year-old man wrapped in a blanket.
The guy who took his life showed up, hugged me, and said to me, "I'm so much in pain for the loss, Mr. Morgan."
All I've been praying every night is give me 5 minutes in the fucking room with this fucking clown, whoever helped him.
I just couldn't believe it. I'm still in denial to this day, even though we're 5-6 months into it. I mean, we love him like his own son. Josh was the zero.
And I know today it wasn't just him. He had to have help.
How did you have a good meet?
We met, actually, I was like 16. We would go to the dances, to the clubs, and they used to bring all the good Latin bands there.
I used to have a deli, so I was a little slap in the deli, so Lana used to come in and clean the refrigerator, so we became friends, etc. And then we became more than friends. The birth of Josh was 1976. We was living at 1040 Erie Avenue.
We were in that apartment. Alan was out, and it was a door entrance to come into the kitchen and a door entrance to go into the bedroom. So I kept hearing noises, like they're hitting box. I thought somebody had broke in.
And we have a rat that could smell the food, so he make residence in my apartment.
I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I kept saying, like, who's there? And I opened the door and I'm going down the steps and I got the gun. And I sat there waiting, like between the two doors in case, with the gun, in case the rat would come in. And he came home and saw me with the gun. He's like, what are you doing?
There's a lot of versions of how I killed the rat, but I got rid of the rat.
And I told him, that's it, we have to get out of here. I'm not staying here.
Okay, I said, okay. Time to go because it was being complicated. So we moved to New Jersey. Jason and Josh was 6 and 8, but we was in Morgan Boulevard behind where they used to sell all that, call it freebase, they used to call it crack. Then we moved to Williamsburg.
That was like Disneyland to any kid.
I built a basketball court in the yard. For us to practice and show them the game was the most amazing thing I ever done for my 2 sons and for the kids in the neighborhood. They built a friendship with 2 or 3 of the guys that they still are like brothers.
Josh Wentz. I'm gonna do a Boys of Intelligence. I don't know from New Jersey.
Playing around and everybody would come over, and that's around when I first met Josh. He came through with the Millbrook crew and we just all started playing and just went from there.
When Jesus walked, my Jesus walked. When Jesus walked.
I remember
Josh, we were at that age, you know, like 13, 14, starting to feel ourselves a little bit. Oh man, I got some stories I don't even know if I need to share, bro. First time I ever got arrested was with Josh. I think, you know what I'm saying, just being knuckleheads, man, running around, chasing girls, and you know what I mean, just getting into goofy shit, man.
We grew up in late 80s, early 90s, so we ran the streets. You know, we didn't have YouTube and FaceTime, and I've known Josh since I was 12 years old, you know. So growing up with one brother was some kind of wonderful. First knucklehead memory I have of me and him. And I don't know why we were trying to do this. We were trying to break into our school. We were like 13 years old. And we climbed on the roof of our school. So some lady yelling at us, get out the roof, what y'all boys doing out there? You know, we flipped her off. And you know, 5 minutes later, the police coming up. They get the whole joint circled off. You know, we're just come down now. Just get down here now, you're already in trouble. Long story short, they put us in cuffs, put us in the back of the car. But we didn't get in trouble though. They didn't call our parents, so that was cool.
I knew Josh through his brother Jason. And Jason was like, you know, the neighborhood legend, basketball god. And he always had that aura about him. But then I met his brother at a basketball game. I seen him come through the building, and I just seen the reaction. You know, ever since at a young age, people see him and they're just like, who's him? He just had that aura about him, just always had that glow. And just to see where Jason gets it from, like, oh, you think he's cool, but damn, that's where Jason gets it from, you know what I mean? Like, that's his big brother, you know what I mean? And now it all made sense.
I felt bad one day. We had a tree in front of our house, but we had this thing, it was like a branch, but we would do pull-ups on the branch. I always want to beat my big brother. So he was beating me and I pulled his pants down. There was people out there, so when I pulled his pants down, everything came down. He didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks. He was so pissed. But we talked about it later on, like laughed about it, like, yo, I was so mad. That was such a great story, man.
One day I came home, he was in high school by now, and I had all these grocery bags in the car. And I come in, and his door's locked in the bedroom. And usually it's open. I'm like banging on the door. So he opens the door real late, and then I hear somebody jumping out the window, and it's a girl. So I drop the bag, he's like, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm running after her. It was funny. I never got, she ran.
Me and Josh's first encounter was me walking home from school with my girlfriend. He rolled up in a motorcycle with his other friend that had one too. My friend dated his roommate, so they were catching up. And then, you know, he came up to me, asked me my name. Same old Josh, smooth, charming. So smooth and charming that I gave him my number, knowing that I was not allowed to give out my phone number because of my strict father. I was not allowed to have boyfriends. You know, mind you, I was 18 years old. But for some reason, I gave Josh my number, and I was just like, oh my God, like, why did I give him my number? He called me after, maybe like a month later. He got into a motorcycle accident. So, you know, I was messed with him because I was like, oh, you were just going down your list of all girls' names and see who would pick up and, you know, feel bad for you. And we set up a date. I fell in love pretty fast. I remember the first time I told him that I loved him. You know, a couple months after I met him, I was like, you know, I want to tell you something, you know, I love you. And he looks at me and he goes, I like you too. We took things very slow, you know, we didn't move in right away. We weren't the typical relationship. So I believe that's why we lasted so long.
We were both in the game, and Josh kind of, you know, we wanted that fast money, you know, we wanted to be the dudes, you know, that we grew up with that had the chains and the cars and stuff, so we kind of dipped off to that, you know, to the dark side a little bit.
He was 14. He came one day and he told me, well, I got to Jamaica, and he gave me this little thing. I said, you really want to get into this, man? I said, listen, come with me, and introduce him to my friends, the people that was a part of my crowd.
I met Josh through his dad. I was actually good friends with his dad first. One day his dad just brought him out and was like, hey, this is my son, teach him. And it was like, ever since that day, he was like my little brother.
He took him under his wing and showed him the game the right way. He never looked back.
You know, Josh, I remember when I met Josh, he just had like an old Thunderbird, little bullshit red Thunderbird. 16s on, you know, that was his pride and joy. And even at the height
of all his street shit, he never forget nobody. You know what I'm saying? He always try to look out. He ain't stoop down to nobody's level. He give everybody that benefit of the doubt.
I had a game in school. Like I said, Josh would come to all my games. There was an agent there that was looking at another player. And when I come out the locker room, the agent stopped me and said, hey, he said, well, listen, got a trial for you if you want to go. So we're going to bring the owner down to come see you. I said, okay. Called Josh, him and Joanna come up. The owner came, watched the game. He was like, yo, I want to sign you. Went and played my first year. Then I came back. And that's when, you know, everything went downhill. It was on the news, on the run.
I haven't encountered some people want to take me out of my position in the corner, and they tried to take me out. Some guy came to murder me. When he pulled the gun, I slapped him in the hand. The gun, I got shot in the leg, struggled. I run out of the door. I have a gold chain, remember the days? And he hit the gold chain and I broke my chest. But I have a friend of mine that I thought was a friend of mine. He got arrested and he set me up with a lot of large amount of money. I got arrested, so I told Josh, listen man, go and tell somebody it was $250,000. Go and tell him to give me my money, and that's when I involved my son in that situation that he got arrested for. He was not selling the cocaine, I was.
I remember people calling me. They're like, yo, your people's on the news. I said, what the fuck you talking about? And then when I found out the whole story to that, I was like, shit. So, you know, he was hiding out. He set out with me a little bit, sent a couple different spots.
He was on the run for a whole year. That's no way to live. Using your little brother's ID to go everywhere. You can't live your life the way you want to. And before I went back, he said, Jay, I'm tired of doing this. I'm gonna turn myself in. I think they're gonna give me this certain amount of time. And I kinda got it.
They put the indictment on him, that I didn't know, I got convicted and I went to Ohio in the mountains and I read in the Daily News. A friend of mine said, listen man, this guy got your name, man. I'm watching and I say, wow, may I arrest my son too?
I didn't want him to go. I wanted him to come down, experience this with me, like, yo, we was in the backyard going crazy for years. And look where we at now. But he was like, no, let me get this over with and done with. I got stuff to do. I got it.
When he turned himself in, it was hard. We didn't want him to go to jail, but he knew that he couldn't live his life running, you know, from what he needed to face. It didn't take him, you know, very long. He was like, I have to do it. Right before he turned himself in, he was working around the clock, getting the bar ready, you know, for grand opening. Me and his business partner ran the bar. I miss Josh so much. Like, I didn't skip a visit.
He got arrested, he got 3 years. He went to Metropolitan in New York.
He did a lot of reading when he was incarcerated. And he knew that real estate was the key to his success.
So me and Joanna would go visit him and I see what he was talking about. Because he was in there putting up doors, was learning a little bit, you know what I'm saying, the trade. He was comfortable with that. Like, you know what, I can do this. He's like, when I come out, this is what I'm gonna start doing.
When he came out, he was still the same person, but more on the right path.
When he got out of jail, I remember he came to my house. We sat and talked for a long minute. And he was basically telling me that he didn't never want to go back to jail again and try to figure out what to do. And I was already in the houses. I was a real estate agent at the time. I was actually doing pretty good. He wanted to do the same thing.
He got a job and worked for a local construction company, very small, but the owners were perfectionists, so he learned a lot.
It was a good thing that he learned how to hone in his skills and fix the houses, because that's what actually shot him deeper into what he was doing.
Once he was done with that, he started working with a contracting company, and he even learned more. Guess he got what he needed to get. He said, I'm gonna do my own thing.
When we moved to Philly and we bought that first house, he did everything on his own. He had his friends help him, that they knew what they're doing, and then from there it just, blossomed.
I was flying all around the country doing my music thing for a real long time. So when we linked back up, it was all about building generational wealth, and like his whole conversation was just all about stability and like, yo, we gotta get this money, and bro, we gotta build. And
he was a very different man after he went to jail and came back. He buy one, he stayed there, worked 15, 16. Sometimes I work with him, sleep a few hours, finish it, sell it, buy two. And before I know it, Josh was a rich man.
To be honest, I gave him an ultimatum and said, if you don't propose to me by 7/7, I said, don't ever ask me. And he did it. We got married at a local park in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It was great. I didn't do anything, any prepping. I did my own makeup. I wore my dress from high school. Josh wore a linen suit. He told me, do you want a wedding ring or do you want a house? Which that was our first investment. So of course I'm gonna say the house, because I knew that with time, I knew that I would get all that. I just, wanted that bond with him to be married.
Birth of the twins, I was in California. He was so excited, man. He was so proud, because they had been trying for a long time to have kids. They had problems trying to have kids,
I couldn't wait for her to get pregnant. When she finally did it, I was so happy, and then said twins. And I said to her, I hope you have one white one and one dark one. Sure enough, that's what happened. I was very happy, very happy.
When it came to Carter, he had a lot of medical issues. Josh didn't know how to tackle that, and I didn't know anything about it. So I kind of just asked him a lot of questions, which took him away from his fears and his nervousness.
He called me and he said, yo, Dad. I said, yeah. He said, I got two wonderful big boys here, man, Carter and Blake. I said, good.
This was like a big thing, to have the kids. At that point, he knew what he wanted to do, and he wanted them to experience much more, just with like any parent.
He did the first day on Fishtown. That's what got him rolling. So he had his little crew, and he flipped this investor's house. This is a real estate agent dude. He's like, oh, hoes, I did this shit in 30 days. He sold it for X, Y, and Z. I said, yeah, how much the fuck you get for rehabbing the whole joint? I said, why you ain't buying your fucking stuff rehab and sell it like that? He just looked at it like, I put the light bulb, he like, man, this nigga right, like.
I first met Josh. He purchased a property on Orchard Avenue in Pennsauken. And he called me up and he said he wanted to go see this property and it was going to be a cash deal. And he really liked the property. We ended up purchasing it for $32,000. And he fixed it up. He didn't have a crew. He was just starting property. But it was like right after that he started buying property.
I hadn't seen him for about 10 years. I met back up with him. He was doing some contracting work, I believe, and was talking about real estate. And I said, oh, I do real estate. And he said, well, I'm buying properties. And that's when his vision started really clicking to me, like, wow, I didn't even think of buying houses and flipping houses and getting rentals. I was working at the post office at the time. I was a mailman. And he turned me on to a whole new life.
I was going through a really tough time in life, man. I was battling for like custody of my son. I was going through court, child support. I never told Josh nothing. And at the time, him and my dad did a job together and they had like a falling out. My mom ended up falling in the hospital. He went to see my mom and my dad had no choice but to respect that. Oh, we beefing, but you just came to see my old lady. They squashed the beef. So while he was in the hospital, my mom had told him what I was going through with my son. And he called me and was like, yo, come see me. So I went to see him. And it was a property of his. And he was just like, yo, you like this joint? I said, yo, this joint decent. You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, you sure you like it? I said, this joint dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit alright, like, cool, you know what I mean? Like, what's up with you going? Rent it out, what's going on? He goes just like this. He goes, it's already rented out. Here you go. Now go get your young boy.
Homie leveled up. It's like, he just leveled up all the way. I mean, even, you know, Josh was a little skinny kid, so even his stature physically, to go from being like the little skinny kid, and then I see you, you know what I mean, however many years later, and you like, you know what I'm saying, you towering over me, 240 pounds, whatever, 250, like housewife, kids, like smarts, his wisdom, and just a total level up.
You know, when you see pictures and things of his success, people don't know, you know, that didn't happen overnight. You know, there's a lot of work.
We had a party, get back in the car with Josh, like, yo, people headline, what's going on? Yo, he put food in the fridge. This is what he does for my family. He helped me get my first house. Your brother helped me get my first work truck. I do a plumbing thing. He said, Jay, everybody's gonna eat. That was his motto. But you gotta show me you wanna eat.
He just left that day and really didn't say bye.
I got the call from a friend of mine telling me something was going on with my brother. He was on the news and it didn't seem right to me. Then I called Joanna.
And said, did you see Josh? You know, is he okay? I'm like, yeah, he left this morning to go to work. And he's like, I'm getting phone calls of people seeing his Jeep on the news, and they found like a body.
And he came and picked me up and actually took me down to the scene.
So I'm going down the list and just calling the closest people that I know that he talks to on a daily basis.
When I got there, I saw the Jeep.
He has me on speaker, and I'm like, Greg, is it Philly tags, Jersey tags, what is it? And he tells me it's Jersey tags. Greg was pleading with the police, like, let me see his face.
And I kept trying to push through the cops to go look. They held me back. A couple of my friends pulled me back. And I seen his ankles just out there, and I kept...
Greg was like, those are Josh's legs.
And I knew it was him because we used to always clown him about his ankles.
He was like covered, but he saw like his beard. And he was like, Jordan, I'm like, you gotta come down here.
Joanna was the first one to call me. She called me while I'm working. I don't usually answer calls, but she kept calling back to back to back. I go in the hallway and she's screaming hysterically. She's like, something happened with Josh. They found his car. I was like, what? You need to come home. So I hung up and I got on Philadelphia's CBS, whatever. My thing is, I was thinking they found somebody that stole Josh's Jeep and somebody's in his car sleeping. That's all I could think about on the bus. And I just couldn't stop crying because I was like, this can't be real. Until I got off the bus. My dad, a couple of my good friends, they were sitting there and they were all crying. That's when I lost it.
Jason called me and said, pick me up at the bus station. That's when he hit me.
The detective talked to us. Then when he explained it to me, he said he shot him at a close range. I know my son was probably like this. He wasn't aware. There were no defense wounds, so I knew that he trusts this guy. He felt comfortable with this guy. Had to be someone he knew. He wrapped him in a blanket and put him in the truck. And I said, that can't be possible. When it took 4 police officers to get him out of the truck. And then he tried to burn him in the Jeep, set it on fire. And thank God the windows were up. There was no fire.
What would you do, man, if you were with Josh the day of his death, man, and if you could have prevented it in any way?
Tell him to fucking go home.
The money Josh used to give this dude to feed his family.
Every time this nigga dude call me, oh, I'm thinking about killing myself, I'm doing this, and Josh would rush over there, throw him a couple of dollars, throw him there, like, you know, he had a big heart, man, and he fuck with you, he'll go all the way, you know what I'm saying? And obviously this motherfucker played in on that, you know?
This is Josh. He loved everybody. Everybody loved him. He would give you the shirt off his back. Like, he wasn't this type of dude that someone's gonna kill.
Me and his uncle were sitting down in the kitchen, and this guy showed up, hugged me, and said to me, "I'm so much in pain for your loss, Mr. Morgan."
So when I found out it was him, to me that was like the biggest disrespect. That man walking into the house and bringing donuts and coffee for everybody, knowing what he did, trying to figure out who killed Josh.
I always talk to Josh about stuff like that. Like, yo, how much is enough? You know what I mean? Like, you're doing good. You got all these properties. You know what I mean? Chill, relax. He wanted more. He's like, no, I'm not done. My kids need more. He said, my kids need more. I'm like, nah. I'll rest when I'm. He said, I'll rest when I'm gone.
It's been. I've had friends pass. I've had people that I've known be murdered before. It's never hit this hard, ever.
He was just, I couldn't believe it for a number of reasons, because it was like he just seemed invincible, bro. Like he really did.
They say everybody has their day, but I just don't believe that was his day, bro.
I wake up, my head's hurting, my stomach hurts, and then I don't go to school, and my mom's like, Uncle Josh passes away, and I'm like, no, he didn't, and I pray almost every single day if I could just have one more moment.
Josh loved to live his best life. He really did. And he wanted everybody to prosper around him. He wanted to share the wealth.
Entrepreneur, one of the greatest people you can meet. I don't care if you're feeling like $2, he's gonna make you feel like $1 million. Change your whole attitude about life. That's what Josh did to everybody, old and young. The reason he was winning, because he was so honest with everyone. Never tried to get over on anybody. And I learned that from him.
He helped every single human being that he can. His friend, his family, his beloved brother, his wife, his kid, and his parents. He cared for every human being.
I was so very proud of Josh, but I didn't know that he had such an impact on a lot of people. He was just down to earth, a good person, a positive person, and a go-getter.
Josh really wanted to get somewhere. He wanted to be somebody. He wanted to leave his mark. And he wanted everybody to know who he was. And he also wanted to give back.
Yeah, Josh changed me, man. He always talked about just enjoying it. Don't get too stressed out. Don't get caught up on the small things. Enjoy what you got. And if you don't got it, work hard to get it.
Most importantly, he inspired me to stop worrying so much about shit I can't control. No matter what the circumstance was, when he was like, yo, it's gonna work itself out and we gonna be good. You know what I mean? Like, so he changed my mindset from that, like worrying all the time, that negative shit, to like, when I catch myself, like, you know what, it's gonna be good, we cool, we good. Just gotta keep pushing, you know what I'm saying?
Family was very a high point in both our lives. We value being good fathers and good providers, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I'm always gonna take me, obviously, but that's, I think, the major thing that's gonna be felt the most.
And what I would want people to remember him by is that he loved everybody. He had an enemy, he still loved them. He only wanted the best for everybody, and he started with his family.
Josh living here in Jersey, I'm in California. I told him when my son was being born, because we had to schedule a C-section, so he knew the time of day he was going to be born. I called Josh after we got to the delivery room to tell him my son was here. He's like, oh man, congratulations, bro. He's like, what's the address to the hospital? I'm thinking about to send me some flowers or something. I was like, oh, such whole avenue. He's like, oh, I'm here. I'm downstairs. Did you come get me? So he flew all the way from Jersey to surprise me at the hospital where my son was born. Before any of the family and friends and family and stuff from California was there, he was the first person at the hospital to see my son born.
I believe that Josh was, living out the definition of legacy. I absolutely do. I think he was just getting started, and he was on a great, really great trajectory,
He's inspired me to believe in my dreams. Like, he's like, whatever you do, if you believe in it, you achieve. Like, he, never give up. Like, don't stop. Never stop until you make it.
Josh's end goal was to be a multi-millionaire. That's what Josh wanted. Josh wanted to build a resume of properties, because he used to say, when I leave this world, I'm not leaving a lot of money, but I am going to leave a lot of property. And he did.
With him, we purchased a building in Palmyra, New Jersey, and we had big plans for that. We bought it. It was the old Knights of Columbus building, and that was our first purchase. It was our first purchase together. We started the LLC together, bought the building. Remember, he was so happy at the settlement table, and I was so nervous. I spilled a damn cup of coffee that I asked for on all of our settlement documents, and everyone was trying to rush and get the coffee before it destroyed the check, and everyone was like, oh, it didn't get the check, so we're good. We were just so happy that, we settled on this first big commercial transaction together, and the dream was really coming together. Like, wow, I'm really a business partner with my childhood friend, and we're finding the way together.
Paved roads, the other roads that are paved, terrible. No street lights. I don't even know what kind of septic or water is going on over here.
I have no idea. I've probably got shit all over my leg. That's probably horse shit.
Yeah, and I have 100% a new appreciation for the life I have.
Absolutely.
You remember the last thing you did with Daddy?
Yes, we were in the pool in the backyard.
You were in the pool?
We were jumping in the trampoline, and then Daddy and we were at Home Depot.
Scene one, take one.
Miss you, Daddy.
So he can hear you, right? Remember how we say we talk? What else did you do that was fun with Daddy?
Lots of things.
Like what? Tell me one thing.
Go to Philly.
You went to Philly? What'd you go to Philly for?
Check all those houses. All the houses.